So I rise, giving all praise to the great God, Allah, Father of the universe. Give the highest of honors to his holy and divine prophet, Prophet Noble Drew Ali. I extend those honors to the Moorish flag, the red flag with the green 5-pointed star in the center, each point representing love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. I extend those honors to his harbinger, Marcus Mosiah Garvey, purity made manifest, Islam. I extend those honors to the office of the Grand Governor, Lieutenant Grand Governor, Chief Staff. Extend those honors to the visitors, the L's and Bays. Extend those honors to the mighty vanguard for keeping the peace. Extend those honors to man, because when man honors man, he honors that Father God Allah. Islam. I want to give honors to the speakers before me as well, because they covered a lot of things that I wanted to speak on. And it's interesting because Brother Pondwater mentioned Brother Van talked about Pondwater, but we understand from Key 4 that Allah, the nearest place to meet Allah is in the heart, and Allah is that small still voice that speaks to us in the heart. But we understand that Allah speaks to man through man as well. So tell your father that he can learn something from Pondwater. So that's an honorable name, actually. Now I think about it, I'm nicknamed that. I want to give honors to the visitors again. Of course, you could have been anywhere on a Friday night, partying, bars, all the stuff that a lot of Asiatics in the cares of the world like to do. But you're here with us on this holy day, so honors to you all. I want to ask, are you familiar with the Moorish Science Temple of America? So this is your first introduction, so to speak. Okay. I'll start by giving a brief explanation of who Prophet Noble Drew Ali is and what the Moorish Science Temple of America is. Prophet Noble Drew Ali was born in the year 1886 in the state of North Carolina. In 1913, Prophet Noble Drew Ali established the Moorish Science Temple of America in Newark, New Jersey. And the purpose of the Moorish Science Temple of America is for the uplifting of fallen humanity. Now, in 1925, Prophet organized as the Moorish Holy Temple of Science in Chicago, Illinois, and in 1926 incorporated into the state of Illinois as the Moorish Temple of Science. I'm sorry. So, yes, Moorish Temple of Science. In 1928, because the movement was largely religious, the name changed to the Moorish Science Temple of America. So when we established in 1926, it was a civic organization. And in 1928, because the movement was largely religious, changed to the Moorish Science Temple of America. The Prophet came to the Asiatics of North America because we were clinging on to names that alluded to slavery. And with those names came along principles that alluded to slavery as well. So what we saw, after the abolishment of slavery was that, we were basically trying to find our way. We were trying to get back to who we were prior to slavery and things like that, but we never could get a hold on it because we were never taught who we were after we've gone through so many years of being separated from our people, being cut away from our culture, our language, our religion, et cetera, et cetera. And so Prophet Noble Drew Ali returned to us the Moorish Science Temple of America so that Asiatics could come to this institution to learn who they were and learn who they are. And in this institution, we are learning specific things about who we are because we know that the institutions outside of here don't teach our children who they were prior to slavery. And for the most part, when we think about Black History Month, the furthest we go back is to slavery. We always taught that basically we began as slaves and now here we are, right? So Prophet Noble Drew Ali taught us that our nationality is Moorish American. And in doing that, what he did was he's connecting us back to a historical continuity prior to slavery, because prior to, as the brother mentioned earlier, 1774, when our national identity was stripped, we were known as Moors. We were known as Moors politically, in the political community. He teaches us that, we are descendants of the ancient Moabites whom inhabited the northwestern and southwestern shores of Africa. And he taught us that, the Moorish Empire dominion extended from the northwest and southwestern shores of Africa all the way over to the Americas, north, south, and central, and the adjoining islands. So that was all the Moorish Empire prior to the conquest of Europeans, prior to being defeated by the Europeans. And from that point, 1492 on forward, is when the process of denationalization started with our people. So, our prophet teaches us that we are teaching our people their nationality and their divine creed, that they may know that they are not Negroes, colored folks, black people, or Ethiopians, and know that we are part and parcel of this government. And he said that we are not Negro, black, colored people, Ethiopian, because these are names that were given to slaves by slaveholders in 1779 and lasted until the year of 1865 during the times of slavery. So by telling us that we're not that, he replaced, he took that away from us and gave us back what we actually were, and that's Moorish American. Islam. So so in that we are teaching our people, their nationality. We're teaching our people who they were, so that we can come back together. Because the nationality, which our people don't think is important. Hold that down for me. Our people don't think, I'm sorry about everybody. But when we talk about nationality, nationality is defined as that quality or character arising from the fact of a person belonging to a nation or state. So, in the Moorish Science Temple of America, first of all, what we're teaching our people is who they are and how to be themselves. Because we've been taught from a perspective of slavery, what they wanted us to be. And when we cling on to names that eluded slavery, again, there are principles and behaviors and things that goes along with that. Am I saying that everybody who clings on to those names are, behave like slaves? No, I'm not saying that. But when you look at our people, as a whole, as a collective, what we see is that we may have a rise here and there, then there's always a fall, or there's always a struggle for our people to unite, under one ideal, or all of these different things, because one of the issues that, again, we don't know ourselves. So when we talk about nationality, what we're in essence, we're helping, teaching our people those things necessary to make them better citizens through the development of character, quality and character, and through, again, those 5 principles: love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Love, truth, peace, freedom, justice. So these are as mentioned before, these are the highest 5 principles known to man. Prophet returned our flag to us because, the flag has a standard. Again, love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice is a standard that our forefathers lived by for over 10,000 years. So that standard was returned to us so that we understand how to do business with each other, how to interact with one another, how to to raise our children. We have lessons in our Moorish Quran on how to keep our households in order, things like that. That's nationality. Nationality is the ideal, and so nationality equals unity. So, we have a lot of different groups of our people, right? We have people who may practice we may have people who are Christians. We may have people who are, practice Egyptology, maybe Hebrew Israelites. People practice Ifa, all of these different spiritual systems. But we don't have unity. Our people don't have nationality. And so what this organization is for our people to come back under one umbrella, under one ideal, so that we can be able to redefine ourselves. That's one of the things. Not redefine ourselves, but return back to our ancient forefathers, ways that divine creed, and that way we can, have the power to define ourselves. In our keys, in our 101 questions for Moorish Americans, it asks, who made you? And the answer is
Allah.
Allah. So, we're taught that Allah made us. But when we cling on to names that allude to slavery, and we we say that we're black, African American, et cetera, Negro color, whatever the names that they give us, then who made us? Them, or the European, I would specifically say. So if we're saying those things, then we're saying that another people made us. One of the, brother mentioned, what was it? All is mine. Probably so. Sorry. All is mine. We're taught that man is a spirit. Man is not the body nor the soul. Man is not the body nor the soul, but a spirit and a part of Allah. So we understand that we're part of Allah. We understand that we are higher than the ideal of black, Negro, colored, African American, etc. Did that give a basic?
That's awesome.
Praise Allah. Praise Allah. Okay, so on that note, I want to turn to chapter 2. Chapter 2, title, Education of Mary and Elizabeth in Zoan, Egypt. I'm going to skip down to verse 13. And I'm going to read from there. I won't keep that too long. And I say that every time I get up here and speak, and then it ends up being like 45 minutes. So, verse 13, Islam, if everybody is there.
Islam.
An age has passed. The gate unto another age flies open at the touch of time. This is the preparation age of soul, the kingdom of Emmanuel, of Allah and man. And I just talked about, man is not the body and the soul, the spirit and the part of Allah. So we are able to, meet Allah in the heart. Allah speaks to us through a small still voice. And these your sons will be the first to tell the news and teach the gospel of goodwill to men and peace on earth. What's the gospel?
Good news.
Good news? Praise Allah. What's the good news?
Everlasting gospel.
The everlasting gospel? Well, what's the gospel? So it's the good news. It's, again, as the sisters stated, it's that everlasting gospel. It's that everlasting truth, right? It's that thing that will never pass away. We learn about a lot of falsehood, and again, going back to our identity, we've been taught an identity that was given to us by another people, and that's a falsehood. And we recognize that a prophet will come to correct that. Now that thing will pass away.
Islam.
So that thing passed away in 1913. So there's no reason for us to keep perpetuating that sin.
Islam.
The prophet said, sin is the transgression of the law, right? But whose law? Because that sin is a transgression against our own constitution. And the prophet said he's returning us back to the constitutional fold of government. So we must proclaim our nationality so that we can, become back one with the families of nations, come back into the human family. Islam. It says, a mighty work is theirs. For carnal men want not the light. They love the dark, and when the light shines in the dark, they comprehend it not. I think that speaks for itself. We call these sons revealers of the light, but they must have the light before they can reveal the light. You must teach your sons and set their souls on fire with love and holy zeal, and make them conscious of their missions to the sons of men. We go back to verse 16 when we talk about revealing the light, or verse 15 actually, when we talk about carnal men want not the light, because when we're going to our people and we're teaching them their nationality and their divine creed, because our people are heavily rooted in European psychology and under the auspices of mental slavery, they reject the truth. Islam, we reject the truth because we have to be purified, right? When we talk about baptism, we have to receive that degree. We have to be purified so that we can be able to see, what's truth and what's falsehood. In all the world there are two things, and what are those two things? Truth and falsehood. Praise Allah. So we have to be able to be purified so that we can be taught certain principles, certain lessons, so that we can understand how to tell the truth from the falsehood. Islam, and that for us is the Moorish Science Temple of America, by way of our Prophet Muhammad Ali.
Islam.
What was that? 17. And you must teach your sons and set their souls on fire with love and holy zeal, and make them conscious of their missions to the sons of men. Teach them that Allah and man are one, but that through carnal thoughts and words and deeds, man tore himself away from Allah, debased himself. So when we talk about, Allah and man are one, Prophet is removing the ideals that, our Creator lives somewhere in the sky, floating around on clouds. Again, we go back to our, those first four keys. Who made you?
Allah.
Who is Allah?
Father of the universe.
Can we see Him?
No.
Where's the nearest place to meet Him?
In the heart.
In the heart. So we're removing the ideal that our Creator lives outside of us somewhere else, and somebody else is controlling Him and us on some puppet wheel. Our Creator lives within us, and it's up to us to be able to tap into that spirit and be able to manifest the power within. Islam. Teach that the holy breath would make them one again, restoring harmony and peace. What's another name for holy breath?
Truth.
What is truth?
Art.
What is art?
Allah.
Art is a lie. So the holy breath, again, that's also that thing that will never pass away. So truth will not pass away. Art is a lie.
Islam.
Islam?
Islam.
I always lose myself. Okay. Teach that the holy breath would make them one again, restoring harmony and peace. That naught can make them one but love. That Allah so loved the world that He has clothed His Son in flesh, that man may comprehend. Who was thought of a love thought made manifest?
Prophet Jesus.
Prophet Jesus. Because we didn't understand what love was. When Prophet says that we have to learn to love instead of hate. That's one of the first lessons that we learned in Moorish Science Temple of America. Is that we have to learn to love instead of hate. Because we've been taught hate for so long that we hate. We've hated ourselves for so long. We've hated what we represented. We've hated our very existence in this society, and we fight against everything that we fight against everything that's truth. So when we reveal the truth, because we hate ourselves, we reject it. Islam? So when I tell you that you're Moorish American, that you're descendants of the mighty Moors who ruled the whole Western Hemisphere for nearly 800 years, oh well, what about when we like to bring up the bad stuff? The one little thing in history, what about all the glory and the marvelous stuff that they built? Like, people like to go back 10,000 years ago to Egypt. But as Grand Governor said, don't talk to me about who we were 10,000 years ago if you can't tell me who we were 100 years ago.
Islam.
Islam? So we needed a prophet to come to us as a manifestation of love, so that we may comprehend what love is. Islam? The only savior of the world is love, and Jesus, son of Mary, comes to manifest that love to men. Now, love cannot manifest until its way has been prepared, and naught can rend the rock and bring down lofty hills and fill the valleys up and thus prepare the way, but purity. And who's the representation of purity in the Moorish Science Temple of America?
John the Baptist.
John the Baptist? And who's that representation in these days and time? Marcus Mosiah Garvey. So Marcus Mosiah Garvey came to us, to our people, to purify their minds, to prepare the way, to make them, to prepare their minds for the return of a prophet.
Islam.
Even Marcus Mosiah Garvey called himself John the Baptist. And he said that would be another, if I'm not mistaken, he said that there would be another John the Baptist even more powerful than him to come after him. Correct me if I'm wrong. But that's what Marcus Garvey, that's what he said. So we got our people, which is interesting because when you study Mosiah Garvey's work, he's very heavy on, civic engagement. He's very heavy on, community works and unity. And in so many ways, when you put, his works and Prophet Noble Drew Ali's works next to each other, they almost, pretty much almost identical.
That's right.
So we have our people running around here talking about red, black, and green, but they're practicing different ideals than what Marcus Garvey brought. Being very radical and agitated. Marcus Garvey didn't teach people to be radical and agitated toward the government. Islam?
That's right.
So we had to have purity to come to us as a representation so that we may comprehend what purity was. Because purity had to come before love.
That's right.
But only the sincere and heart will recognize that. Islam?
That's right.
But purity in life men do not comprehend. Verse 23. But purity in life men do not comprehend, and so it too come in flesh. As I just stated, we had to have purity to manifest so that we may have an example of what purity was. Islam?
That's right.
All right, and I just want to read a passage from Moorish literature. It's entitled "The Voice of the Prophet." And, our people are very, when we're given, a negative thing, we have a tendency to, in our minds, try to make it something positive. So when we're called the N word, we turn around and make it cool in our communities, as if that's going to change, the history of it, change what it is. And so we cling on to those things because in our trauma, I call it PTSD, post-traumatic slave disorder. But in our trauma, we want something good for ourselves, even if it comes from somebody else. And so that's an issue in our community. But when we talk about race, and our prophet tells us our race is what? Asiatic. But when we talk about race, our people are so gung-ho on the names and the principles that allude to slavery that we go 100% at it. But what if we went 100% at what we actually were? What would our conditions be today in 2018? And that's the hardest thing to get our people to see, because again, European psychology is a very strong hold on the minds of our people. And so it's up to us to be able to go out to our people and help them purify themselves so that they may be able to receive the message, of the prophet, so that they may be able to distinguish truth from falsehood. Islam? So this reads the voice of the prophet. The prophet said, if you have race pride and love your race, join the Moorish Science Temple of America and become a part of this divine movement. Then you will have the power to redeem your race because you will know who you are and your forefathers were. Because where there is unity, there is strength. Together we stand, divided we fall. It says where there is unity, there is strength. So nationality is unity. That is, at the end of the day, what nationality is. So if one of the things today is, our people are taking DNA tests. Everybody want to see what the raw data says and all this other stuff. Oh, I'm from West Africa. Well, I come from give me some tribes in West Africa.
T-Car.
Say it again.
T-Car.
That one, I ain't never heard of that. T-Car. There's one. Mali?
Yeah.
What else? Akan, Ashanti. What else? Igbo. All these different tribes in West Africa. And so our prophet, he didn't say that you were these specific tribes, but you are, right? But what he did was he brought us something that covered all of that. So if you are T-Car, praise Allah. But how can you be that over here in America, right? Because over here in America, you're recognized by your national identity. And if you're not, being who your forefathers were, you know, you're subject to the misuses and abuses that any, you know, that the true citizens are, the true citizens' character bestowed upon you. So, you know, if you are, you know, Igbo or Akan or Ashanti, Mali, etc., then praise Allah. But how do you be that over here in America? So Prophet brought us Moorish American because he said that we are descendants of the ancient Moabites who inhabited the northwestern and the southwestern shores of Africa. So all of that is under the Moorish umbrella. Islam? Because prior to European conquest, it was the, you know, that was the national identity of all of that dominion, of all of that territory. They were identified as Moors.
Islam.
Islam. So if you got race pride, come join the Moorish Science Temple of America.
Islam.
It's easy. You know, it's power in numbers. So we can't be divided. If you're a member of the NAACP, praise Allah. Come join the Moorish Science Temple of America.
Islam.
If you're a Hebrew Israelite, praise Allah. You can still do Shabbat services. You know, we ain't set tripping up in here like y'all. Praise Allah. So we can still, you know, at the end of the day, this is about unity, and we have to be able to come together under one common ideal so that we can move our people forward. You know, so you know, and again, I can go on and on with that. But at the end of the day, we're not trying to take anybody's identity away. You can still keep your identity. You can still go and practice your Asiatic ideals, you know, outside of your nationality or inside of your nationality. You know, because you know our religion is Islamism. You know, that is the practice and the promotion of peace, but it's also a political form of Islam. And Islam means what?
Peace.
Simply means peace. So if you're trying to be at harmony with yourself and trying to be at harmony with your environment and the things around you, then the Moorish Science Temple of America is the place for you. Then you can still wake up in the morning and go to Shabbat service.
Islam.
Makes sense to me. I don't know. I could be wrong, but hey, I don't think I am. So, so he says, "Come, good people, because I, the prophet, sent to redeem this nation from mental slavery, which you have now, need every one of you who think that your conditions can be better." He said he need everyone who think their conditions can be better. Islam? You know, so if you think your condition can be better, join the Moorish Science Temple of America. This is a field open to strong men and women to uplift the nation and take your place in the affairs of men. So when you come to the Moorish Science Temple of America, we expect you to be strong. So we ain't talking about just physically, you know. We're not talking about physically, in general, but you know, a mental strength. You know, a strength that's able to go about execute and resolve. Islam? So, if the Europeans and other nations are helping me, and people like to say, "Oh, the Europeans help," that's another topic for another time. But if the European and other nations are helping me, why not you? It is your problem. The Negro problem is being solved only as it can, and that is by the Moorish National Divine Movement. If you have a nation, you must have a free national name. What's that free national name? American. In order to be recognized by this nation as an American citizen. This is what we meant when it said, seek ye first the kingdom of heaven, and all these things will be added unto you. Islam? Islam. So praise Allah. You know, the covenant of the great God Allah, you know, honor thy father and thy mother, that thy days may be longer upon this earth land, which the Father God Allah has given thee. We can't honor thy father and thy mother if we're clinging on to names and principles that allude to slavery, because we won't be able to practice our ideals, our culture, in a system that promotes you being your forefathers. You know, our Constitution promotes us being our forefathers and practicing our divine creed. Islam? So join the Moorish Science Temple of America. and help us resolve the issues that are going on in the cares of the world amongst our people. Because we see them, right? I leave it. Any questions? No? Praise Allah. Do as I can in peace. Islam?
Islam.